Have you ever been laughed at so hard that it felt like your world crumbled? They laughed at me. They laughed at my family. They laughed at my name. They even laughed at the country I belonged to. They called me worthless. They called me names. They treated me like I was a joke. But what they didn't know was this: I don't forgive. I don't forget. So I plotted. I plotted silently, patiently. And when the time came, I didn't just destroy the bully who humiliated me. I made him carry the weight of an entire country's shame. This is my story. And trust me, by the end of it, you'll never laugh at someone's pain again. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story is a story about revenge, cold, patient, and brutally satisfying. It's not just about a bully in school or in an office. This is about humiliation on a grand stage with entire communities watching, and how one person, written off as weak, powerless, and unworthy, turned humiliation into the sharpest weapon of all. So sit back, because this one is not just about personal revenge. It's about pride, dignity, and reclaiming respect when the whole world tries to take it from you. I grew up in a small town where everyone knew everyone. But in every town, there's always one person who thinks they own the world. In my case, it was Armand, the mayor's son. Armand was rich, arrogant, and cruel. He never worked for anything in his life, but he walked around as if the town owed him everything. I was the complete opposite. I was quiet, bookish, and I struggled to help my parents who were drowning in debt. To him, I was the perfect target. It started small, mocking my clothes, laughing at my accent, making fun of my family. But one day he went too far. It was during the annual town gathering, a celebration where the whole community came together. Hundreds of people stood in the square, music was playing, food was being served, and then Armand decided to make me his entertainment. He grabbed a microphone, called me to the stage, and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the poorest man in our town. He can't even pay his debts, but maybe he can sing for us like a beggar on the street." The crowd laughed. They pointed. Some even cheered. I felt my face burning. My hands were shaking, but the worst part, I saw my father standing in the back. His eyes were filled with shame. That day, Armand didn't just humiliate me. He humiliated my family, my bloodline, my dignity. And at that moment, I swore I would make him pay. Now, revenge is not about shouting back. It's not about throwing punches or screaming insults. Revenge is about patience, about waiting for the perfect moment when the bully is at his most powerful and then cutting him down in front of everyone. I went back to my life, but I never forgot. You see, Armand's father, the mayor, was obsessed with politics, and politics meant money. The town was already in debt, and the mayor used public funds recklessly. The one thing Armand cared about more than mocking me was inheriting his father's empire. And that's when I saw my chance. I studied. I worked in silence. I went to university in the city, learned finance, economics, and law. I built connections. I learned the dirty little secrets of debt, money laundering, and corruption. Meanwhile, Armand continued to humiliate people, thinking he was untouchable. But I knew one truth. The higher a man builds his throne of arrogance, the harder he falls when you pull one brick from underneath. It took years, but I waited. I built my career, became an advisor in finance, and slowly gained influence in government circles. One day I returned to my hometown, and just as fate would have it, Armand was now running for local office, desperate to prove himself. He was bragging about bringing wealth, new contracts, and foreign investments to the town. Everyone admired him, thinking he was the savior. But behind those contracts was fraud. Behind the promises was corruption, and I had the documents to prove it. So I set the stage. I leaked small hints to the press. I organized an audit. I pushed whispers of scandal until the people were desperate for answers. Then, just like he once dragged me onto the stage, I dragged Armand onto the stage of politics. Only this time it was him who would be humiliated. The day of the big rally came. Thousands gathered, just like the night he mocked me years ago. But this time, I wasn't the one standing in shame. As Armand stood proudly on stage, I stepped forward with evidence in hand, corruption, fraud, debt scandals, all tied to him and his family. The crowd gasped. The laughter that once cut through me cut through him. People booed. They spat at his feet. His allies turned their backs. The man who once mocked me for being poor was now exposed as a thief who stole from his own people. And just like that, his career ended before it even began. I didn't punch him. I didn't yell. I didn't lower myself to his level. I destroyed him with the one thing he valued most, power. I let the world see the truth. And in that moment, I realized something. Humiliation is temporary, but dignity, when reclaimed, is eternal. So to anyone listening who has ever been laughed at, bullied, or mocked, remember this. Revenge is not about anger. It's about patience. It's about turning the pain they caused you into the power that brings them down. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because bullies may laugh today, but tomorrow the world may laugh at them. Thank you for listening.